We are back, episode 129.
129th episode of the BSG podcast, and majority of these have been brought to you by Moon Golf, and it'll continue into 2025. BSG podcast presented by Moon Golf. We have a special episode for you tonight. We're looking into kind of this new going in 2025 season, having Scott Porter Golf on like once a month or so, once every few weeks to kind of talk golf with us. So if you like it, let us know. If you don't let us know because we don't want to hurt Scott's feelings. But the ones we have with Scott on here have been really good episodes, so we enjoy having him. So really, regardless of what y'all say, we're going to keep having Scott on anyway. So we'll take a second real quick. And if you're listening tonight and you love what Scott's saying and Scott's info about golf, we're going to give Scott some time to kind of plug and talk about his podcast he just started with our other friend, Maddox. So talk about your pod for a minute. Let them know.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk about it a little bit, but it's really a very sarcastic thing. If you know us, you know we both are pretty sarcastic people, so it's got a sarcastic name. The Overqualified Golf Dads podcast. A little bit of some truth in that, considering that he's a college coach and I'm a golf instructor, at least right now. As I said on our first pod, semi-retired golf professional turned stay-at-home dad. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I'm really excited to kind of work with one of my best friends and just do something fun. Number two, really excited to become a golf dad myself, trying to figure out how not to push him into it while also the whole upstairs is golf. And, obviously I've got a ton of time to do that, but just talking to somebody that's one got kind of thrown into it, he's a stepdad. And then now he's got, his little girl on the way and whatnot, and they're super excited about that. So both of us just becoming new dads and just kind of talking golf and doing what we do. But the most important and I think the coolest part about it is I've already come in contact with some really cool guests and kind of started to plan some things out. And so you're going to see some decently big names, at least their dads, right? So I'm not going to give too much away, but say we're going after, a kid that lives pretty close by. He's one of the top juniors in the country, and his dad, I'm just reaching out to him and talking to just the dad, seeing if I can get the dad to come on, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and just trying to go from there and figure out what worked for people, because I think we all start this journey as dads. Number one, you don't know what the heck you're doing. I didn't know what the heck I was doing as far as diapers.
Still don't.
Yeah, I mean formula diapers. I'm let's see, today was my 5th day. Full stay-at-home dad. I'm talking about 13-hour days because 7 to 5:30 plus a 45-minute commute. So, it's a long day from the time my wife leaves to the time she gets back. And total respect for her for doing that for 5 months while I was the one working, because I'm learning that is just as much work. But, just both becoming new dads, not wanting to get, too overbearing with the golf stuff, but also we're golf pros. It's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to have some cool insights, some stuff that we're going to be doing with our kids, down the road. Some stuff that we're going to be excited about, teaching others how to get their kids into golf, how to keep them in the golf. Some of the things that, we're talking about is just like some of the mistakes that we see on an everyday basis, that we wish we could just pull the dad aside and just be like, hey, we know you're doing this out of love and you're doing this because you want to bring your kid out and enjoy this time with your kid. There's a different way to do this where it's not frustrating, or as frustrating to you. So I think we're going to have a lot of solid insights for golf dads, but I also think it's going to be one of those things where it's a situation where I'm talking to one of my best friends once or twice a week, and it's just very conversational. We're not doing outlines, we're not doing scripts, we're not going to be doing. I mean, we'll come up with some questions, I'm sure, and kind of ask each other questions or ask our guests questions, but for the most part, it's going to be more, for lack of a better term, Rogan-esque, where it's just us communicating back and forth, kind of what y'all do. But it's just a lot of kind of just talking shop, just kind of shooting the crap and figuring out what's going on with our lives and being golf dads. So
I'm honestly surprised you got Maddox to say yes to it, because he's not a very social media guy.
a lot of it, y'all had a lot to do with it. I think playing in the matches, and being on YouTube camera, I think we could see that there was a little bit of chemistry between the two of us, just because I am kind of that social media guy. Like I do, really, really enjoy the social media aspects of my job and my life and my career. And I mean, dude, I had a website when I was in high school, just like a blog spot where I just wrote articles in the college and still did it.
Yeah.
Just because I've always loved sharing creative sides to myself. And normally it's not very good content, but it's inspiring to me to be able to put stuff out for the world to kind of judge it, see it, critique it, get back to me on.
Mhm.
And I just kind of like doing that, while also I love helping people, and helping people play better golf might be like the most nonchalant way I can help somebody. But at the same time, if they're enjoying their time, if they're enjoying themselves more on the golf course, with or without their kids, with their friends, with their buddies, in a club championship, like whatever, like, however they need to enjoy golf more, I want them to enjoy golf more. And whatever I can do to make that happen, whether it be a podcast, maybe it be online lessons, maybe it be, picking up the phone and FaceTiming somebody while they're having a not so great, swing session on the range, whatever I can do to help somebody, I want to try to do. And I have some experience, took myself from somebody that, couldn't break 100. And in 3 years, I was shooting in the 70s. Within about 4 years, I was scratched. So, have some experience with that side, have over 300 students back home, still doing the online golf lesson stuff. So I'm actually probably a little busier now than I was,
Anyway.
yeah, a couple weeks ago. So
It's
it's
easy to
a
just
lot of
run
a lot
off
of cool
to work.
challenges. Dude, you ain't lying. It's
Have you
it's different.
have you eyeballed a golf course up there yet that you're looking at maybe being the home course?
Man, I'm kinda I
What's
kinda
the
wanna just go
options?
back.
You got
So there's
anything?
2 within 15 minutes of me. There's kind of like I'm not gonna use their names, but it's kind of like a podunky, like a 20 buck, like, they say it's
Like
for 9 holes, but,
Pugsy?
like, yeah, they say it's for 9 holes. I'm not sure how many people play out there for that. 18 holes, I think, on the weekend was, like, 35 or 40 bucks, like something small. And then there's a semi-private that's more like summer growth, I would say.
Mhm.
I haven't been out there yet, but I've driven past it. It's I'll say the name of that one. It's called Legacy, in Springfield, and I think it's like, roughly White Oak, summer growth, 350 bucks a month, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, semi-private, where you can just pay 55 or 60 bucks. So
Yeah.
the biggest thing here is, number one, my main thing is taking care of Jet. Number two, I don't really know anyone here, and I don't play a whole lot of solo golf. So I'm probably going to go out to the Podunk golf course to get my content and film. And they don't have a range, so I'll probably use the Springfield golf course Legacies for the driving range content, and then play the cheap golf over there, because that's the other part of it. It's like the PGA, it's not. I don't blame the PGA for this whatsoever. But like, if you're not actively working at a golf course, I can't keep my education and my associate stuff
Mhm.
going with the PGA. So that kind of gets put on pause until I go back to work at a golf course, whenever that is, in years
I'd
down the
be
road.
interested to see because when you were at Noonan, you were on a course every day. Not that you played every day, but you're on a course. So I'll be interested to see like that from when you moved to when you play another round, like if you're still in the same, or if you have a few bad rounds before you get dialed back in.
Oh, I'm gonna suck. I'm
Yeah.
gonna suck. It's
I want
there's
to.
no question
That's what
about
I'd be
that.
interested to know, like what that first round bat's gonna look like because you're not on a course every day anymore.
The hard part, and I think that's where, and we're gonna talk about this on our podcast. I think when you start playing golf at a super early age, you develop like a feel, and it's
Mhm.
almost like riding a bike. Like, you don't really ever lose the feel. Like, Maddox
Yeah.
doesn't go out and shoot, like, he might go out and shoot like a bad round of like 76, 78, but like rarely, rarely is it higher than that. Right.
Yeah.
And I coach him and I teach him in his golf swing. But then, on a bad day for me, it's like 79, 80, 81, somewhere in
Mhm.
there. On a really bad day, 82 even. And it's just one of those things. I mean, hell, 5 days after Jet was born, 7 days after Jet was born, I played in the assistant championship and shot like 85, 87. So like, it can go sideways quickly. And it's one of the things with me. It's like, it's always been, I have to practice because I didn't play it as a child. I didn't grow up playing golf. So I have
Yeah.
to keep my swing in shape. Like, I have to do what I'm supposed to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To kind of keep up. And if not, I turn it into a little bit of a vanity handicap where I'm a scratch, and my handicap's not going to go up from that because of my good rounds. But
Mhm.
I'm probably not playing to scratch, definitely in this moment. But certain parts of the year where I'm working a lot or teaching a lot, like, I'm definitely not playing to that. So I think that's one of the hard parts about golf pro versus professional golfers, and just the concepts, the ideas. Like, y'all have, not your fault, everybody does, but everybody kind of gives me crap about, being at the golf course all day. Like, I love your job, which, like,
Yeah.
you would. But until you realize that, like, you go to the golf course for fun, I go to the golf course to spend 60 plus hours a week there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
you go there to get away. And that's the way I always train my staff that work under me. Guys, when they walk into this pro shop, you have to understand you're supposed to be having the best day of your life. You are happy
Yeah.
about your job. You are excited to be there because they are excited to be there because they're leaving all of their problems. They're leaving everything else away, away to come spend money at your golf course to
And have
come.
more problems.
Well, yes and no. I mean,
Different problems.
Different problems.
Different problems for sure. But at the same time, like it's just one of those things where I've always tried to teach, my staff that hey, you can be having a bad day in the times where nobody's standing around you, and it's not a fake thing. It's just like they expect to be treated happily, like well, like you want to be in good spirits when you're working
Yeah.
at a golf course, and if you're not going to last very long. So I think that's one of the things that, like, on the flip side of what you mean, like the bad consequences. I'm probably gonna be rusty. Like hitting off a mat upstairs is not the same thing as hitting, off real grass, real turf. And it's kind of one of those things where, I'm looking forward more to like the other side of it, where I get to go spend a couple hours away and get on the golf
Yep.
course. Like it's gonna come kind of turn. I always thought it was funny. I found my sanctuary on the golf course on the days that I got to go out there and throw my AirPods in and course mark. That was my
Mhm.
piece. That was my favorite days. Like you saw me share those days on social media when I was taking like the Noonan
Mhm.
National pictures that I was sharing and stuff. All of those pictures were taken when I was out there responsible for the red, yellow, white paint on the golf course. Spending 4, 5, 6 hours out there just uninterrupted, me and God, nature, and a spray paint. And it's
Mhm.
kind of like a very, very, you know, productive graffiti
Yeah.
in a way. Like it was fun. It was fun to be able to draw the line, to be out there and be with nature. And I think that, I got that kind of solace out of that because I was alone. I wasn't with people. I wasn't quote unquote performing or doing my job, acting in any way. Like, it's one of those things where it was just me out there enjoying nature,
Mhm.
enjoying the golf course. And so I think being solo up here, being not solo, obviously I have my wife and my child here, but nobody else is playing golf with me. So, getting to go out there a couple hours by myself, film 9 holes, use it for content, be out in creation, be out with nature once a week, I think that's going to kind of do me some good. Now, the bad part is it is frigid here. It
Oh, it's
is
cold up
so
in
cold.
Tennessee.
I
I
saw
mean,
the snow.
I guess I should have expected that. Yeah, that was like our second night. It snowed, and then the next night it was 17 and felt like 8. So
Oh. So
yeah,
how many
that
times do
was
you think
like
you'll get to play a week compared to when you're at Noonan, maybe 3 to 5 times a week? Now, being a
I,
dad, stay-at-home dad, what's the
I
goal? Once a
certainly
week?
there was a 6-month stretch there before I built my client base at Noonan that I was playing 3 to 5 times a week. I'd never
Mhm.
touched that once I started teaching
Oh,
and
okay.
had the building and that kind of stuff. I was luckily playing twice a week, and that's Friday and Sunday.
Okay.
Typically I was leaving Saturday to be with Skylar, at least here recently to be with Skylar and Jet. Then I was teaching kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning, go play Friday afternoon, come in, teach a few lessons, open the pro shop if I needed to on Saturday or Sunday, and then go play. Um, so I think in a way, that's certainly going to change. I think that once my wife, so our schedule right now kind of stinks. She's just working 4 days a week, normal nursing type, 10-hour day type schedule. Um, in January, she's working nights. So she's going to be working like Monday night, Tuesday night, Friday night. So that's going to allow me a little bit more free time to kind of like the days that she doesn't necessarily have to sleep and she kind of has had a full night's sleep. I can kind of get away for a couple hours. So I think maybe once, twice a week in the spring. Obviously, I'm going to try to make some friends and play some golf with people and not
Yeah.
just be a recluse out there. But at the same time, like I do want to film some content. I think one of the only ways to kind of spread your podcast or what your whatnot is, I think you kind of have to do what y'all have done, kind of have the whole package, right? Like you can't just talk about golf. Like you got to show that you know what the heck you're doing out there a little bit. So I think there's going to be definitely some. I'm going to try to collab with somebody once a month and just go meet somewhere and go play, take a whole day. So it can be you guys, can be Maddox, can be whoever
Oh, it can
sweetens.
definitely be us. We're down.
We on the way.
Because the thing is, I can be in North Alabama in 2 hours. Actually less than that. I can be in. Um, oh my goodness, not what's the big town with the Amazon in North Alabama now? Huntsville. I can be in Huntsville
Huntsville,
in like
yeah.
an hour. I can be in Huntsville in like an hour and 10 minutes. Like it's not super far. So like the
Mhm.
north side of Alabama, I can we can link up and I can meet up with some people. So, just going to be kind of treating golf a little bit more as like that relaxing thing again, and kind of more laid back. Because no matter what, when you're playing with members, like you may not think it, but like they're watching how you chip, they're watching how you. But more specifically, like, and the thing I struggle with is like they're watching your mental game. You're trying to teach a mental game, and then your mental game because you're working all these hours, you're not
Blow up real
practicing.
quick.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like it's just one of those things where like I think I'll become. I don't want to be too quick to say like I'm going to be a better golfer because obviously like new dad, stay at home, like not a whole lot of time. But at the same time, like I think I'll be able to put what I teach more into practice now. Practice what you preach. I think I'll be able to use what I teach more now, being able to just focus kind of on my own game instead of worrying about like other people like tagging along, being with me. Who am I playing with today? This person don't necessarily like each other. Like, you just gotta like deal with like kind of a little bit of the club politics and stuff when you're playing in those games with the members and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, life obviously changes. You become, different person or different people in different stages of your life. And I think this stage is just going to be about trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life, but also having some fun along the way and raising Jet because I'm having so much fun raising that little dude. He is just.
And now you're getting into the content world, which for us is like, this is the least amount of golf we've ever played now that we started content. Because every time we play, it's like, we got to get content. And so now you got to balance like, because for us, sometimes like, we don't feel like filming. Like, let's just go play a fun round.
Absolutely.
Like, no, we got to get content. So now you got to figure that out too, because you finally have a time to golf and you're like, oh, do I want to content? Do I not want to get content? Or how am I going to balance it out? So,
yeah, I think, that's also kind of one of the things where it's like, you want social media to be as real as it possibly can be. If I get out there and I'm filming the second hole of the day and I am sucking and I can't hit a solid golf shot and I'm hitting everything off the toe, like you just put the camera away, strike it up, and you enjoy those 7 holes. You enjoy those 7 holes, and maybe something clicks and you get a 3-hole video at the end of it or something. But for the most part, I mean, it's just one of those situations where I'm not ever going to be the person that's going to get out there like hit until it clicks. I'm going to show you what I shoot, and if I film every shot that day and then I post it as a 9-hole or I post it as, whatever it is, you don't want to get too bogged into like what you're doing. It's mainly one of those things. If I think a shot's cool, I'll post it. If I think a hole is cool, I'm going to post it. And just figure out what works. I mean, if I went into this trying to become social media famous or trying to I'm trying to get 15 people to pay me $100 a month. If you want me to be very upfront and honest with you in terms of my golf lessons and my teachings, like I don't want more students than that. I don't have time for more students than that. Like I want to be able to focus on 10 to 15 people with their golf games and then separately be able to focus on my golf game and film some content and create podcasts. I think when you try to do too much, I think that's when you're going to kind of run into some problems. I think I figured that out a little bit at Noonan where, Brandon kind of had a situation where he was charging more. So he had less students.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the same frequency, maybe even a little bit less frequently, but he was still making the same amount of money or more because he just had it figured out where, it's very hard to keep that many clients happy all at the same time. You only have a certain amount of hours in your day. And that's why I like the online golf stuff. I had 4 lessons today of kids and people that have sent their swings in and whatnot. I broke them all down. I spent right at an hour and 15 minutes doing it, and that's 4 clients, right? So, now granted, that's going to be a few times a week of, 10, 12 times a month. You're spending that same time. So you're still doing the work, but I can help. And the information is just so much more streamlined with it being virtual. The one thing that sucks is people just do not have any idea how to film golf swings.
Oh,
We've had, talking about trying to balance it, we've had tons of times where we'll plan to film, and then that Friday night, Casey will text me or I'll text him. I'll be like, let's just play. Let's not film. How are we on content? Do we got enough videos? And then we'll go and we finally get to play music.
A mental recharger for us too, though, to prevent burnout.
I think the hard part too, you definitely need those rounds. But I think y'all would be a lot happier if you weren't the person having to control the camera. I think
we're working on it.
Yeah,
I know, and I know it's hard, and I know. I mean, you got to bring in money to pay people, whatnot. But I get it. I get all that. Like, you got to tell me. But at the same time, like, I think you're seeing like some of the guys that y'all look up to and some of the guys that your content seems to be kind of, inspired by or whatnot.
Mhm.
I think those dudes never had to film or never had to really put a camera, be this person behind the camera.
Mhm.
If they
Yep.
did, it was very little, like the Bryan brothers and the other
Yeah.
guys, like very minuscule, very minuscule. Like they're not out here actually clipping edited. Like now a kid like Ben, I think it's Ben Haddon on Instagram. Like I think he's actually out there with the stick. He's got his phone.
Oh, yeah.
And he's doing everything on his phone. You know what I'm saying? I think there's levels to this, right?
Yeah.
I think y'all would enjoy the playing golf while you create a little bit more if you weren't the ones always behind the camera. And that's just noticing that from playing with y'all, because I think me and Maddox enjoy ourselves a little bit more than y'all do.
We're
on those
testing
days.
that. We're going to Purcell in the spring. We're testing that. We're paying for a videographer and an editor, and we're going to see how much it brings the quality of the video up, and how much it makes us enjoy it more, not having to be like, because filming is just half of it. And then I go home and I have 5 hours of footage. I'm like, oh, here we go. This
Well,
could take
maybe,
forever.
and that's yeah, dude. I just use the iPhone apps, like, and that's why mine looks so bad. But
Yeah.
like, I haven't taught myself Adobe or Final Cut yet or anything like that. But at the same time, like, I think that's where one of the things. Maybe y'all can film it and then you send it off to edit, something like that. But your videos look great. Like y'all are doing everything the right way. Your videos are awesome. I watched the one the other day that y'all had with the ones, I guess, before me and Maddox played. When's ours coming out, by the way?
So I'm working on the second part of that one, because that was just the front nine. That's another thing we're trying to figure out, because sometimes you put out 18 holes and it's like a 35-minute video. Nobody's going to sit down and watch a 35-minute video of us. I'm like, break it up into 2 parts. But as soon as that part comes out, then I'm turning around and ours is coming out right after that.
Got you.
So,
yeah, I mean, I dealt with that. I was telling Zach, I dealt with that on Instagram. It wouldn't even, I like verified my account or YouTube. I verified my account and everything on YouTube, and it still made me split up our 31-minute podcast like into threes.
I don't know why I did that.
Well, it would have done it in 2 15-minute videos, but then I would have had this weird, like,
Oh, do you have to have
30-second
so many
gap.
subscribers or something before you can have such a long video, I guess, is what it is?
I think maybe it's just because I made that account like that night that I tried to post it and everything. Like, I just don't think I did it like quite as organically as maybe YouTube would prefer. Like I've had my channel forever, which I've never really posted anything to, which I need to. But it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I think they were just like, all right, trying to do too much.
Yeah.
We're in Purcell. We're bringing Cole. We're going to try to have him and a second videographer and let us just play and enjoy it, because there's always so many things. Like Casey will get up to the par 3. I'm throwing up the drone. He's grabbing my clubs. I'm trying to get it in the right spot. And then it's my turn to hit. And I'm like, where's my glove? That's the wrong club. And you're just running.
I mean, Casey hasn't played a round of golf with his own set of clubs.
Sometimes I'm like,
I've never
Zach got out here. I'll just grab Zach.
Yeah, I've never seen Casey play with just his bag. Like, he's always like, oh, what's that? Let me see that.
It's just that pressure of like, you got people behind you, and the last thing you want to do is be that guy on the golf course with a camera, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, they're so slow. For me, it's not a fear, but I'm like, I don't want to be that guy where everybody's like, oh, here they go with the camera. It's going to take forever.
Of course, they're slow. They're the ones we're waiting on.
Can I ask one non-golf related question?
Yeah.
I know it's always golf, but be still in the caption. I know.
No. We can talk about any gear.
What do y'all? This is only in the gear talk here. What do y'all think are the drones? Like, I've been Joe Rogan it all day trying to figure out.
Trump said today that they said they know what it is. They just won't tell us.
Bro, shoot them down. Shoot them down.
Somebody tried. You see that video of that guy?
Can't shoot them down. It's FAA regulated. Can't shoot it down. They are piloted by Space Force. They do have the FAA lights.
Whoa, hold on. Where did this come from? Where are you getting this?
This is on the internet. This is the sort. This is what it is.
Is this? But hold on. Is this like because I've been researching too. Like,
Zach's our news guy.
Is this because I haven't seen anything official about this?
No, it's not official.
Okay,
so this is unofficial.
Conspiracy. Okay.
So the biggest thing that they're not aliens because they have the lights. They flash.
Aliens are not real. So that's another easy one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one too.
So they are piloted drones. The talk was they're prepping in case a dirty bomb comes and they have to send drones to.
Yeah, they're looking for the nuke or something.
Yeah, something like
supposedly.
So that's why they're staying put for most of it, but they are showing up in other places. So
Yeah, they're in Kentucky, which is like, dude, I'm 30 minutes from the Kentucky line.
I don't
Had
think
to fly
anyone's
over
in
your head to get
danger.
from New Jersey to Kentucky.
I think it's a psyop to get the public scared. If you keep the public scared, you have control.
Bro, I'm not scared
Yeah,
of
no,
drones.
And I think that's what it is.
No,
If it didn't have the 2 flashing lights on the bottom, like an airplane or like our drone, I'd be like, maybe something else. But
my thing is, like, we let a Chinese spy balloon.
That's what
damn
I
near
told
go
Jeremy
all the
that
way
today.
across
I
the
said, we let
continental
that
United
balloon just
States.
fly across the country. So
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Like, I'm not expecting our government before January 20th. I'm not expecting this government to do anything about the situation whatsoever. Sorry, that was just another little. I just couldn't figure out anything about it.
I'm sure we'll get lots of comments now on the no aliens versus aliens. People love that kind of stuff.
I'm more of like the Tucker Carlson, like, biblical view on the aliens. I think that makes the most sense. I think that they're fallen angels that have been here forever that are kind of. I think we're in the end times, but we can get all into that.
Yeah, we'll have an alien dinosaur conversation all this one day on the pod.
So some golf news. My buddy Jin Chung from the Georgia PGA section. He's been a teaching pro up at Chateau Lawn, which is a winery up in north of Atlanta.
You said breaking
he's been
news?
Up there. It's breaking news.
Okay.
Let's go. But yeah, my buddy Jin Chung got 12 guaranteed starts on the Korn Ferry Tour. He was a couple shots short, maybe one or two shots shy of the PGA Tour in the final stage of Q School. But he's Coach Jin to all the kids at Chateau Lawn. Like, he's a golf teaching pro that always killed it in our section. Like, always killed it. One of the only people to beat him over the last couple of years that I've known was when Maddox kind of went on that little stretch when he joined the section and started playing against us and whatnot. But there's a couple guys in there. Francisco Bide played on the RSM down on the coast. He kind of got exempted there because he's the player of the year of the Georgia PGA section. And then Jen, who is our assistant player of the year in the assistants division for the Georgia section, just got almost full status
on his 12th attempt. I remember seeing this on Instagram.
On his 12th attempt.
Yeah. I knew, as soon as you said his name, I knew I didn't know you knew him, but I knew who you're talking about. I remember reading it.
Jin Chung. So, and the other cool part about that is it's the first year that he hasn't paid for it himself. It's the first year that he let someone else pay for it. Or let me say this. It's the first year that I know of that somebody else kind of sponsored him into it, because he wasn't going to pay for it again. He was like, no, I'm 36, I'm done. And somebody from his church, he was thanking God during that whole kind of interview. But somebody from his church offered to pay for it, and yeah, it's crazy how God works.
Side note: his first stage, he tied with the one and only George Bryan IV. They both were 3 under through the first stage and whatnot, but one of them made it and one of them did not. I'll let everybody at home figure out who that was. It was not our favorite George Bryan. Which, while we're talking golf, I want to transition real quick. I want to ask you all a question. Tomorrow, for us, as everybody's watching this or listening to this, it'll be today at 7 p.m. This match comes up: Rory and Scotty versus Bryson and Brooks. This is our first look at PGA versus Live per se. Just a few of them. I want to hear everybody's first make a pick, and then we can kind of talk about the whole thing. So, who do y'all got?
Bryson Brooks.
Easy. I knew you would.
Bryson outperformed Scotty in the events they were head-to-head last year, and Brooks is a dog in competition.
Bryson also outperformed Rory with that comment he made today about him
doing it was his own fault.
Yeah. Who you got?
Oh man.
I haven't read the rules.
I'm gonna take Rory and Scotty, but I'm gonna say this. If Scotty isn't just the same exact person he is in competition, then I'm going to call Tony Romo and all the other guys that said they played, hundreds of rounds with Scotty and he's never shot over 69 and all this. Like, if I don't see the same exact Scotty tomorrow night that I see on Sundays and like the focus and the hyper focus and everything, like, I'm not. In a way, I'm almost not going to believe that he's this super hyper focused guy. Like, he's playful but he just always wants to win. They say back home, like he never loses a match back home. They say it's just this ultra competitor. I think that we're going to see a different side of him tomorrow night that I'm excited about seeing, or tonight, I guess, however you want to say it. But I think we're going to see a little bit different side, and he's Scotty Scheffler. He's the best golfer on planet Earth, and he's the best golfer on planet Earth in the last 20 years, other than 2001 Tiger. Like I don't think that's the hard part. Is that's what everybody's discrediting. Is like, yeah, he's not better than Tiger, but he's better than Tiger in every other year except for 2001. That's how good of a year he just had.
But the question is, he's about to be carrying dead weight on his back. Rory is a choke artist when it comes to stuff like this. So before we go further, real quick, let me let everybody know at home. It's 18 holes, but this is how they've got it broke down. It's not just a straight up. The first 6 holes are going to be played as 4 balls, and then it'll switch for the next 6 holes to foursomes, and then the final 6 is going to be 2 singles matches.
Yeah, so I mean, they're essentially doing like a little Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Smashed into 18 holes. I do love that they're doing 18 holes because they always did like 7 holes, 12 holes. Like it was always dumb, in my opinion.
I'm hoping the singles matches at the end is Bryson and Scotty, and then Rory and Brooks. I don't really care, but I'd like to see Bryson and Scotty. I've got Scotty and Rory because Scotty is him. We're witnessing it, early stages of 2001 Tiger. We're in our, well, not maybe that good, but in our time frame of adulthood, we're kind of seeing it. But the only thing too is, like you said, Scotty, this is going to be televised and at night. So I don't know if they're like, all right, Scotty, you got to have like a personality. You can't just be focused in. You got to talk. And I don't know if that's going to throw him off.
Well, by all accounts, he is that at home. He's this hyper aggressive, like super, super just like have fun, but also talk trash and like beat the brains out of you back home in Dallas, like, or in Texas. Like, I think nothing's going to change. I think he's going to come out here and make 8 to 9 birdies and 18 holes. And I think I just don't know if Bryson and Brooks, like the hole-in-one challenge was cool, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think Rory too.
Don't talk about Bryson like that. That's personal.
Rory's got a little
I love him
on his shoulder from when he was the face of the PGA Tour when all this broke down, and people have been waiting to see this. So I kind of feel like Rory, I'm hoping, comes out with that little edge, like I'm about to prove something since they put me through all this and affected all that. So I want to see. I want to be fun, but competitive.
Rory put himself through.
Yeah, that's true. But Rory he put himself through that.
Rory got paid. Rory got paid, and he got paid to look like a fool, but he got paid. He got paid, and my whole thing is like, anytime you're going to be that vocal about either side of a situation, you have to know it's a risk. So don't come back here and be like, oh, I feel like a sacrificial lamb. It's like, yeah, but like you got handsomely paid.
Mm-hmm.
And all these rule changes and all of this catering to the top 10, top 15, like, the reason I like Scotty, the reason I like, some of the others on the PGA Tour, that maybe, they stayed and they were supportive of the PGA Tour, but they didn't dog these other dudes. Like, that's what's going to be interesting is like, can Brooks really look? And I know they say they're all past it and they're friends and everybody's cool, but like, Rory said some not great stuff about these people. Like, I just don't have any sympathy for Rory. Everybody's like, I feel so bad for the players. Like, they didn't, they turned down the deals. Now they're I don't. Like, you had your choice. You made your choice. Like, I don't have any sympathy for. Anyways, that gets off in a little.
Rory said the other day he's paying for like 13 memberships across the world too. So it's not like he's short on the money.
Oh, he's definitely. I remember the day. I remember when it broke news about. I was in college and I just got into golf, and then they broke this deal about him signing a 10-year deal with Nike for like $250 million, and I was like, "What in the world? Golfers make that kind of money?" And then that was when they were doing clubs and apparel, but now just apparel. So he's got it. But I think Bryson and Brooks will be the more entertaining team to watch because they're just going to have fun. Specifically, Bryson is going to have fun and joke, and Bryson can joke around, have fun, and still be extremely good at golf. Because especially now he's in the content world, he has to do that.
Yeah.
Rory's kind of like, he's got a weird humor that he thinks is funny and nobody else thinks funny. And then Brooks to me is just a turd. So we'll see how it plays out.
See, I'm the opposite. I feel how you feel about Brooks, I feel about Rory.
Like, yeah, I don't like Rory either. I'm very vocal about that on the podcast. I said he won't win another major in my lifetime. I've said that forever. I don't know about another major. He won't win Augusta. He won't win that. You don't think he'll get the
He won't win.
Grand Slam?
He's put too much pressure on himself at this point.
Yeah.
I think he'll win another major at some point. I mean, hell, Tom Watson almost won a major at 59 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think Rory McIlroy, of all people, is going to win another major, and I think it's going to be sooner than later. It won't be Augusta.
Well, he better do it before that all the LIV and PGA kind of mix back together and everybody's at every tournament, because I don't think he's good as he was.
They're already at all the best LIV guys are at every tournament, at every major, I mean, all the best ones, like the ones, like, yeah, you got some that maybe would have normally qualified in that aren't there. Your Taylor Gooches of the world, but let's be honest. Like,
God, don't bring his name up.
Let's be honest.
Don't bring his how he's getting into
the top 10 on the PGA Tour, the top 10 on LIV, and then everyone else. And the problem with golf, the best part about golf, it's not a problem. The great part about golf is that on any given days or any given weekend, it gets more rare for like a full 4-day event. Anybody on either of those two tours can get hot enough to beat anybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the exciting thing, right? And that's why I think you're seeing some pushback against PGA Tour going to the smaller fields. I think you're seeing some of that. But at the end of the day, like, if we're going to just quiet both sides down to the meat of the matter, people care about stars. They care about the big names. They care about the Brysons and the Brookses fighting their matches, and they care about the Jordan Spieths. But then they also care about these college kids, right? They got no cares in the world, and I don't want to use names, but about 32-year-old PGA pro that's been out there 11 years and 2 top 5s, but he's so consistent. You know what I'm saying? They're just, those guys are never, excuse me, those guys are just never moving that needle or going to move that needle. So I don't blame the PGA Tour for looking at restructuring, for looking at shrinking, for looking at making the field sizes smaller and whatnot. At the same time, I think you take away some of the magic of that, right? And LIV's got great players, Tour's got great players, Korn Ferry Tour's got great players, DP World Tour's got great players. I mean, the Kirby has great players. Like, let's be honest, like, there's great golfers, all around us at any given time, and it's just fun to watch golf. And I think the quicker we get back to just doing it.
The Kirby this past year had a more exciting finish than any LIV golf tournament I've watched on YouTube so far.
100%.
Maddox and Jacob coming down to it.
And a third. And a third. Jason Henry was in there too.
Zach said that if LIV and PGA, or if Bryson was still on PGA, that Scotty's 9 wins in 2024 would have been cut in half if Bryson was on tour.
I didn't say half. I did say they would be cut
like 4 to 5.
I think it'd be 5 or 6 instead of 9.
How many? Y'all are in front of your computer. My computer's a little farther away. How many? I'm still working on my whole setup here. How many wins on the PGA Tour does Bryson have?
Last year in the majors, and Scotty's hottest year, head to head, Bryson outperformed.
No. That's a cherry pick stat. That is such a cherry pick stat.
They were
on the same.
We're talking about Scotty's best year. Bryson, when they were lined up in the same event, he outperformed him. That's
putting it on the screen right now. There's the answer on the screen for you.
You do know that Scotty beat him at the Masters, right? He didn't beat him every single time.
No, but the other two he was in, he finished higher.
He won the John Deere Classic in 2017. In 2018, he had 3 wins at the Memorial, the Northern Trust, Dell Technologies, and then 2020 the Arnold Palmer. So it's not
here's my issue. Here's my issue, right? Your boy has 9 career wins, and Scotty won 9 times this year.
He wasn't in the same field. I'm with Taylor Gooch moment.
I'm with that, but this is my argument. This is like saying that Vanderbilt deserves a shot at the playoffs because they beat. You know what I'm saying? Like if you just judge based on Georgia Tech took Georgia to 8 overtimes, and I guarantee you that whoever comes to, or actually it's going to be a neutral field because they're not hosting, but the first round of the playoffs that Georgia plays, that team is going to get beat worse than Georgia Tech got beat by, and it was 8 overtimes.
Not the first round. Georgia's got to bye.
I know that. I'm saying whenever Indiana or Notre Dame come, when they match up, they're going to get beat by worse than Georgia Tech. I would bet pretty much anything on it. Okay. Does that mean that Georgia Tech was better than Indiana or Notre Dame?
No.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying about cherry picking in the tournaments they played together. It's like The dude just won 9 times. He's the second most dominant golf season ever. Like,
I'm not saying he wouldn't have done just as good. I'm saying
you said cut in
Bryson.
half.
I never said half. Casey's making up statistics.
5,
I said
5 is a little less than half. I mean, a little more than half. Or less than
I
half.
said Bryson would have won more events, not more than Scotty.
So why are we talking about Scotty? I'm just confused in the.
Well, he said that if Bryson was there, Scotty's 9 wins would have went down to about 6.
That's just like which ones would he have won? Which ones would I just want to hear it. Like which ones?
I don't know. I got my money. Any time Bryson laces up on Thursday to Sunday, I put my money on him. I trust him. Once he got that baseball cap back, he was my guy.
Probably should start putting that money on Scotty.
Which speaking of money, we're gonna jump into this last topic for the show. They announced today that American golfers that are playing the Ryder Cup will get a $500,000 stipend, with $300,000 of it going to the charity of their choice, and $200,000 of it, I guess, going in their pocket for travel expenses or whatever. Most of this coming off of 2 years ago, No Hat Pat. If everybody remembers that moment, if you're a listener, Patrick Cantlay didn't wear a hat one day. Never said really why. A lot of speculations was because they weren't getting paid, so he was kind of boycotting, and then it became a whole deal where everybody was celebrating with the hat and doing all this kind of stuff. And so fixing it this year, does this ruin the Ryder Cup for anyone, them getting paid? Because it used to be about love for the country and the passion of it. And was it Rory or somebody very recently said, I would pay to play in the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, Rory.
And then we have this.
Like, I agree with Rory. Like, I don't think they should be paid. Does it ruin them? No. These $500,000, $200,000 put in your pocket after paying for all your expenses, they're just getting reimbursed. That's what this is. This is a reimbursement for what they spend. My thing is, like, do I think they should be paid
$200,000 just to go to the Ryder Cup? And well, I guess they're renting some crazy houses too.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying assuming that their jet, which I have to be under the assumption they didn't pay for anything in Rome last year, last time. So you have to assume what I'm trying to say is, like, $200,000 to them is $200 to us, right? $2,000 to us. And they're probably $200.
It's probably a paycheck. Yeah, it's like a regular 2-week paycheck.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, my point is, Pat Cantlay doesn't like wearing hats. Like, it takes a lot of money to get that man to wear a hat week to week, week in and week out. Like, it matters nothing to me. It doesn't change how I feel about the Ryder Cup. I don't think it's going to change how the players feel about it. I don't know why they did it. If it is because of Cantlay and because there was internal bitching, like,
it's got to be
internal fighting, like if that is the case, kick him off the team completely. Like,
pick someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just don't want him there. But I don't think that's the case. Like, I just don't think the dude likes hats. And if they don't fit his big old head, I wouldn't want to wear a hat that didn't fit me while I'm playing golf, flying off, coming riding up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate not having a hat that fits right. And not playing in front of millions of people with the history of the weight of, the history of golf weight of my shoulders. It's one of those situations where I thought they made a huge deal out of it when there shouldn't have been a deal made out of last time. I don't think it's a big deal this time. Am I surprised they're getting paid? No, they're talking about not getting paid enough, and they're making millions and millions and millions of dollars. So of course I'm not surprised that there might be some complaints and wanting to get paid. But for me as a fan, no, it doesn't change anything. Personally,
I don't care.
As we stand, the top 6 that are guaranteed a spot, not captain picks, guaranteed a spot. Patrick's not in it. It's Xander, Scotty, Bryson, Colin, Brian Harmon, and Billy Horschel. So Patrick may not make it. But here's my bold prediction for the Ryder Cup. 2025 at Bethpage Black. I think this becomes an issue, this Ryder Cup. The Europeans hound the USA team for this, make fun of them. It becomes a whole topic. And for the first time in, I'd have to know, but it's several years, I think Europe wins a Ryder Cup on USA soil. All over this. They're going to say we have more passion. We're doing it for the love of the game. And they embarrass the Americans at Bethpage.
Have you been to New York?
No, never. Don't want to go to New York. Have no desire to go.
Okay. The fans in Boston,
New York, they're gonna be brutal.
Philly, I know the fans, like the Northeast, just in general, Buffalo. Like you've seen the Bills fans. Like, if any of them overlap into golf fans, right? Any of them, any of the sports teams, any of the hockey teams, any of them, and it's the Ryder Cup. Like, people that don't know golf, go watch the Ryder Cup. 200,000 people a day go, like, or
Right.
I don't know, that might have been less than that. But my point is, like, it's massive. The Europeans have 12 voices. America has 200 plus thousand voices. There's not going to be enough they're going to be able to say about that to get in the heads. I think that's why the Americans are coming out now and saying, "Hey, we're paying." Like, that's it.
Yeah,
Like,
go ahead and get it
we're
over
getting
with.
ahead of this. We're gonna let you talk your junk, let you come at us, let Rory say, I'd pay to play." Of course you would. It's the Ryder Cup. Anybody would. We'd all pay to play. Like, no doubt about it. The difference there is, I think you're confusing, like, the psyche mentally. If the Europeans are going to be able to have an edge on this, I don't think they had an edge on this last time. Like, I don't think that the hat swirling and all that. I think it created a little bit more dramatic effect, a little bit more emotions at the end of day 3. But for the most part, I don't think it played. The Europeans just slaughtered us. They just played better than we did. I mean, you
You
saw it
think we
after the
should have
very
had
first
Bryson
hole.
instead of JT?
Of course, not instead of JT.
He should have replaced some people. I think was it Wyndham was on that team.
That was a
Oh
few.
yeah.
I mean, Wendell did just win, the week before. Though, I mean, the year before the U.S. Open. Like, there was a few. No, he won. He won that summer.
He won. He had a big year,
Yeah,
and then he
yeah, he had a
had
big
that.
year. No, I mean, there
He had
was a
that
few. I mean,
playoff.
I think not having Brooks there is. I mean, it's. I think you're seeing that was a huge mistake, and I don't think that's ever going to happen again. It's just kind of one of those things. But yeah, I don't think that mentally, psychologically, I don't think the Europeans are going to be able to use this as an advantage much at all. I do think one thing that will be an advantage is if the Europeans get off to an extremely hot start again.
Mm-hmm.
This
We're
time on
toast.
our soil. When it comes to, like, taking in the way you talk about a football game, like taking the crowd out of it, like, we gotta come out, and we're a year away, so, but we gotta come out strong in,
Mhm.
that first session, that first 2 sessions, because the Europeans, in my opinion, just from watching as a fan, like, I mean, truthfully, let's be honest, like, I'm just a humble golf pro here, but the Europeans just seem to bring cohesiveness and, like, more of, like, that team aspect. They just seem to, like you said, do it more for, like, the passion, the camaraderie of it. And our guys just always seem a little bit snooty. And then they come play here, and, like, it's roles reversed. It's flipped a little bit. We show this pride and this passion. I mean, think of the last time they were here. Like, the Europeans got slaughtered, got smoked.
It's like the
Different team.
Olympics.
Different team. That was, like, Lee Westwood and, like, Ian Poulsler and all the old guys. But yeah, I mean, it just is. It's definitely cyclical. It definitely kind of turns and revolves. And I think that you're going to see the Americans come out. I think there's a lot of Americans that want to be on this team. Let's just say
And
that.
and America is playing for Captain Keegan Bradley, which I think he's going to bring a fire to it. That
I hope he plays, man.
oh, that would be sick if he does a
Yeah.
captain pick for himself. Oh, I hope he does.
I hope he doesn't need it, personally. Like,
Yeah.
the only way I think it works, and I think he said this, I think he said the only way that I've been playing is if I qualify for it on points, because no captain's going to pick themselves, like, unless his
Yeah.
name's Tiger Woods. Like, let's be honest, no captain's going to. And there might be a few that should, but most golfers are just, this. As much as they want to say, like, alpha dog, like, I'm gonna go eat, like, kill you, and this, that, and the other, mentality wise, like, for the most
Mhm.
part, it's a gentleman's game. Like, nobody towards what they see towards, like, the, come down of their career, nobody's going to pick themselves. Keegan, I don't thinks he's at the come down of his career. I think Keegan Bradley can still go win 2 or 3 golf tournaments between now and then,
Mhm.
and I think he can put himself in to play on this team
Yeah.
via points.
He
Because,
needs
I
to. He's
mean,
number 26 right now. So he's
so
got
yeah,
to
he's got a lot of to come. But at the same time, like, I definitely don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he does do a playing. What do y'all think? Is it weird that they picked him, like, to be the captain?
Oh,
Like, is
it's
that
definitely staged. It's
That's
Netflix.
that's
Did all that.
awkward after
I think it's not.
he got the call.
I specifically think it's Hollywood putting this together. There's no other reason Keegan got picked other than what. And they're already filming season 2, and this is going to be part of it. It's definitely been
now?
staged.
To clarify, I want to defend Netflix a little bit. Like when we say Hollywood, like I think everybody thinks of like this like deep dark like
Well, I mean,
The
there's a script.
Illuminati.
There's a script.
yeah, exactly. Like this is Chad and the boys that have done Full Swing and they've done Drive to Survive and all these other ones that are awesome documentaries. Like I think they're going to be just fine. I definitely think that the Netflix show embarrassed them.
Oh, Keegan?
No, the PGA of America,
Oh.
like just the establishment, the golf establishment,
Yeah.
the American golf establishment. I think the Netflix show with the Keegan situation, with the picking JT, with the Zach Johnson, ZJ kind of playing buddy in
Worst
the
coach
picks,
ever.
and then you go over there and get your butts kicked, right? And I think that's a little embarrassing because it's coming out on Netflix. It is, we picked our friends and we went over there and we were having a party on the plane and we went over there and we got our butts kicked. I think they got embarrassed by that and they were like, okay, quickest way to get the public back on our side is just to make Keegan. Let's make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Let's make him the captain. Now I think it's key as obviously you say yes. I mean, it's captain the Ryder Cup of the U.S. Like you're going to say yes, but at the same time, if you're Keegan, like you have to be like,
is this a pity party?
They didn't want me the first time. Now they want me.
Yeah. Like I mean, he's got to be the youngest captain in a long time.
Oh yeah,
right.
And
maybe not like youngest
last
like
year.
10 years, but like he was having a great year last year. Like he should have been on the team. Like, let's be honest.
And so it's kind of wild. It's the whole thing. It'll be interesting too as we lead up into it. I'm excited. That's one of the best things in golf is this going on. All right, let's transition to the last part of the show real fast. This is the drop zone question for the week. We want to know, you play a lot more golf than us. What's the most ridiculous golf shot you've ever made or even attempted?
Can I give two? Because one was in competition, one wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're the special guest.
All right, competition first. Second ever players ability test for the PGA. My buddy Zach Spittler was caddying for me up at a Shasta, and we had just made birdie. I went driver 5 wood onto a par 5. I think it's like the 13th hole at Shasta. I think 13 and 14. It's either 12 and 13 or 13 and 14. This was in 2018, so forgive me, but I think it's 12 and 13. 12 is a par 5, and then 13 is a par 5. And so you're going this way, and then you turn back around, and you're coming back this way. Well, what you drive over on 12 is a river. Like it's a Shasta. I don't know if y'all played it, but it's a valley with mountains on both sides in Dahlonega. But the golf course just sits in the valley. It's very flat, very easy to walk, super easy. Just like sits. But it crosses the river like 6 or 7 times, like back and forth. And so you drive over it on 12. I went driver 5 wood 2 putt birdie. Go to 13, you hit your first drive, and there's like a gunch thing at like 280, so you can't really hit driver. I mean, you can, but like you got to like hang back a little bit. And then you have to hit to like another section to then have 80 more yards to cover this like river to then have like 60 yards kind of around the green. So it's a really weird hole. It's kind of 3 sections, and you kind of have to play it as a 3-shot par 5 unless you can go like 280. Like your chances of you getting it over the river in decent enough shape, not very good. So I went 5 wood or 4 iron, 5 iron, something like that. So my next shots, my third shot now is like, I crossed the river, but I'm like well back. I think I'm like 70 yards out or so. And I just hole it for eagle. So I went birdie eagle.
Oh wow!
In the PAT back-to-back holes.
That's wild.
Just canned it, from like 70 yards. So in competition, that is probably my longest hole out. Obviously, I've made the hole in one back in. But the craziest shot I've ever made, I don't know. Attempted, I've tried them all. Like if I'm not playing for much money, and I don't consider much. If I'm not playing for more than like $10 a hole, like there's not many shots that I won't try because I mean, what's the worst case? I make a triple, okay, like no big deal. So number 5, Noonan Country Club. To set the stage, it's a par 4. Y'all know it, but you kind of have to tee it off, and it's pretty tight. There's out of bounds at the right with the cart path. It's only 340-ish yards. Like it's not a very long hole. Can't cover the creek in front of the green with the driver, so you kind of have to lay back. I normally hit like 3 wood or 7 wood, and I kind of like hooked one of those two clubs. I don't remember which one it was, and it hits the top of the trees and falls down, and I'm 195 yards away, but I'm like in the trees. So there's a stump there, right in front of me, just so I can remember where it was, and I had an alley where I could aim at where so the green's here, and then the bathrooms and the water station sits right there on the top next to number 6 box, right?
Mhm.
So that's like 30, 40 yards to the right of the green. That was where I had to aim.
Oh, so you
So
had
I
to
have
bring
5
it.
iron. Yeah, I have 5 iron. I'm playing the points game just with the members. I'm playing in a threesome with 2 older guys, Kyle Tatum, and another guy. I don't remember who, but I remember Kyle because, anyways. So I hit the shot, and it's just I just was trying to hit it on the green or short of the green. Really, on that hole, you're just trying to get it short, chip up, and always keep it below the hole. So I've got like 5 iron. I'm just trying to like hook it around there. And it's just perfect. You're going right at it, going right at it. I'm like, holy crap, like that just worked. 30-yard draw, like going right at it. And it's hot. Like a draw, you know how draws go farther, or in your mind at least, they go a little farther. And so, it's coming in hot. I'm like, sit, sit, sit. So I watch it hit once, and then I'm 200 yards away in the woods. Like I lose it. And I'm thinking it went over the green. I'm like, oh my God, one place you can't hit it. Like this pin is kind of right in the middle, right on that slope. You can't hit it there. And it one hopped right into the hole. After 3 minutes of looking behind the green, Kyle Tatum was like, Scott, it's in the hole. I was like, what? You're like, it's in the damn hole. So anyway, and he never cussed. He never cussed it, but he said, it's in the damn hole. So anyways, that was a 2 on a 4. And I do have an albatross, but that was a long, long time ago on number 1 at Pebblebrook. Long, long time ago. It's just a little par 5. You can just go over the trees and pitch and wedge on, and I made that. So,
Zach, craziest one for you?
We were playing 2v2 on film at Callaway, hole 18, Lakeview. It's a hard dogleg right. Mitch and Casey went long left. I'd been where they were. I knew they were about 200 out. So I said, I'm just going to open it and rip it. Went up and over the trees, and it was right on the edge of the water. It was a 75-yard shot for an easy dub.
Nice.
I remember it. Mine was,
as soon as I hit it where it was, and I knew it was over.
Mine was a hole 12. I was like maybe 50 yards out, and we are playing with a buddy Bean, and Bean was like, oh, I bet you $1 you won't hole out. I was like, I ain't taking that bet. That's stupid. And I hit a shot and I hole out from like 50 yards out. And then the very next hole, I chip in from off the green too. So back-to-back chip ins, basically birdies. And then one of my second favorite shots is against Scott. I think it was hole 9 at Noonan in the match. And we were like tucked behind that tree. And I think I somehow hit it. I either cut it or somehow miraculously hooked it to hit like a few feet. And Zach made the birdie putt for us to just dominate that man at his home course. So that was a cool moment for me too.
So one of the hard parts, and I'm not going to call you out for it, but it wasn't even Zach that made the birdie putt, and it wasn't a few feet. You hit it to like 12 feet, and Brady at the very end, after y'all had made 3 of, no offense, but not great putting strokes. Like you didn't teach the man very much, and he gets up there, and it was like the 3rd or 4th putt that he had holed on that front 9, and he cans it from like 12 feet. And I was sitting there with a birdie putt, like actually like good opportunity, and I'm just like, I can't beat these guys. Like there's nothing. They're making everything.
If you think back to hole 8, I bladed that one that hit in the side of the bunker.
And you put us up there for eagle.
Yeah, on hole 8, it rolled right to like 10 foot.
I remember that. I remember most of that match, to be honest. I remember I hit it in the water on the 3rd hole, but then I saved par and gave them the tumbos.
I remember that match. That was a fun one to play, though.
Jinx.
It was fun for us. I don't know if it's fun for you, especially like when we get lucky like that.
The hard part, I mean, it is what it is. You always get luckier in scrambles. Like that's a part of like the juju and the good vibes. Like when you have, I'm a firm believer, as much as I am a Christian, like I think that we have like this super, super like, it's God in us being made of His image, right? But I think we do have at some level the ability to kind of see things in. Like, I think we have the ability to kind of make things happen, like with our like just presence. Like, I think we have like this innate ability where it doesn't happen all the time, but you can find that flow state where like, I know this is going in the hole, and then you hoop a 30-foot putt, and you're like, okay, the percentages of that putt going in that hole from 30 feet, 3, 4, 5% for the best player, putter in the world. Way less than that for me, and that still went in, and I felt it going in. Like, you find yourself, and that's one of the coolest. I think that's one of the most addictive parts about golf that no one quite gets. Right? Is it doesn't matter what you shoot. If one shot of one day worked out exactly how you planned it, you're hooked.
Yeah,
you're hooked.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we don't really talk about enough when we talk about like when it gets going bad, when you're frustrated, when you're struggling. Like, we don't create enough with our mind. You don't visualize what you're trying to do. You're just staring at the ground. What can I do with my swing to make it better? The first thing I try to get my players to do is stare at the target. Like, just absorb it. Like, take it in, look at it, stare it down. And because you'll be amazed at, like what you said, when you called your shot, happen, right? Like, it's weird. You have kind of weird innate abilities to do that, especially on the golf course. So yeah, it's definitely different.
Well, we appreciate you. We're gonna have to have you on more often. I'm sure everybody listening enjoyed it, going deep into golf and somebody knowledgeable about golf and talking about it. So Scott Porter Golf, check out the Overqualified Golf Dads pod. Is it like a weekly show, or how's it gonna come out?
Yeah, it's one of those things where neither of us have a ton of subject matter at the exact moment, just because we're not quite golf dads yet. I mean, Jet's 4 months old, and he's got a little girl that he obviously is his stepdaughter. But then they've got another little girl on the way, and so it's one of those things. We're going to try to film weekly, but we're also going to let our guests and kind of decide if we need to film 2 in a week and then take a week off. There's no structure to this, man. We're just having fun
for it.
Yeah, we're just having fun, man.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Everybody go check him out. Scott Porter Golf. Follow him on he's back on TikTok, everybody. So you can go watch him on there. He's on Instagram. Posts a lot of good stuff. And if you're looking for some swing thoughts, he'll give you some free ones on there. And then just go subscribe to his coaching. Get locked in with the man. So got that going on. And we'll have him on in a few weeks again.
I'm still waiting on y'all. I told y'all what the deal was. Waiting on to see this.
I can tell you, I have not moved my golf clubs in 3 weeks.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do for you two boys for having me on is I'm going to send y'all both some free just at-home stuff, drill work to do, stuff that you can use a golf club for, but you aren't going to be swinging the golf club. A couple of my favorite drills to do to keep your bodies loose and keep your body moving on y'all's busy schedules, being golf dads. So,
I'm going to make me a TikTok using your drills, and so I can promote you.
There you go. All right,
dude. Thanks for watching. Everybody like to subscribe. Go check out their pod and follow them on Instagram. And we'll see y'all for the next one for episode 130.
Peace.